Welcome to the Best Kept Secrets podcast, where we share our best kept secrets about life, love, God, and everything in between. Hi guys, welcome to season 3, episode 7 of the Best Kept Secrets podcast, where we share our best kept secrets on God, love, life, and everything in between. So we've been doing kind of a series about things they don't tell you about. So today we're having a conversation on things they don't tell you about weddings. So I just feel like weddings are really romanticized, especially in this day and age. And I thought to have two newly married brides in the building to talk about weddings and things that they don't tell you about them. So I will ask you guys to introduce yourselves. I usually don't introduce my guests. I want you guys to tell us everything that you do, apart from being a bride, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I go first.
Yeah, go first.
All right. So my name is Tracey Gachie or Miss Gachie. I don't even know. Should I change that name?
Now you're Mrs. Period.
Yeah, but I am a content creator, lifestyle content creator. I also work in the digital marketing space, the agency space. We're surviving. We're doing great there. And yeah, recently married. No kids.
That sounds like there's a question mark.
No kids.
Mhm.
But yeah, I'm so happy to be here. I feel like this is going to be therapeutic for us.
Yeah, I'm sure you have some trauma to offload.
We have a lot to
to unpack.
Yeah, but that's me.
Okay. Yay. Dhvani,
Yes.
I mean, you've been here before,
I've been here before.
but tell us,
Tell
us again.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm Dhvani Tombush. I am a business management consultant, hoping to switch to something else. So if you have any ideas for me on on a new professional career, I'm all ears. Just drop it in the comments below. And I'm recently married also. I have a cat.
You're a cat mom?
Yeah, I'm a cat mom.
Mhm.
No kids. And yeah, I'm looking forward to this conversation.
Great. Okay, so first question is, if you could describe your wedding in 3 words, what would those words be? And then unpack each word.
The day.
The wedding.
The
yes,
wedding
the
day.
day. Yeah.
3 words, I'd say. For me, it was more than perfect. Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first word. I go as I unpack.
No, just say all 3, then
Okay.
unpack each.
I'd say perfect. The day wasn't hectic. The planning was.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd say
Maybe
perfect.
we can say the wedding in general, not just the day.
Not just the day. Obviously hectic.
Mm-hmm.
Then perfect on the day. And growth.
Okay.
Yeah. And hectic because there was so many things I didn't know that I wish I knew beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a lot of stressful days.
Mm.
A lot of stressful days. And everyone kept telling me, oh, you need to focus on the good. And a lot wasn't good. But yeah, that's the hectic bit. Perfect on the day, I think Kagir and I decided that whatever that isn't going to go right, we are not thinking about that. We are focusing on us and on that day and on how perfect it could be, and everything went so well.
Mm-hmm.
And then growth. Here I learned a lot as me as a person, us two together, just through that whole planning phase, and then also growth in terms of standing by your is it ground or what or what?
Yeah, ground.
Yeah.
Standing your ground.
Standing your ground on a lot of things that I learned a lot, basically. So I feel like I really grew
As a person.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my 3 words for my wedding would be exhausting, boundaries, and surreal. So exhausting, I mean, I think Tracey basically already said it. The experience is incredibly tiring, and I don't think anyone really tells you how tiring. You have days where you don't want to get out of bed or talk to any vendor about anything, or to any family member that's asking 1,000,001 questions about things that should not be their business. The second word, boundaries. Honestly, weddings, people don't know where to draw the line, and I think you're forced as a couple to draw the line many times, and it can be a very difficult thing to do, especially if you're a people pleaser like me. But I had to learn to draw the line at some point, so that's where I learned a lot about boundaries. And then the last word is surreal. So for me, like, Kenya is my new home, and it was so crazy to me that it was the first time both sides of my family, together with my husband's family, together with like my closest friends around the world, were all in Kenya at the same time. It was like my mind was unable to compute that half the time. And for it to culminate in such a beautiful event and all the other events surrounding the wedding and the bonding that happened, for me, just felt like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening.
Yeah.
Best thing ever. Yeah.
I think you've both touched on, or rather, when Tracey was talking about the growth, I was thinking about the people pleasing thing.
Yeah.
And how, as people pleasers, you're really forced to come out of your people pleasing shell and just say no to a lot of people. So what was that process like? Because I know, like you were saying, people can be very entitled to your wedding. So how do we set boundaries? How do we say no?
I think it starts with first yourselves. Backstory: us guys never wanted to have a wedding at all.
Really?
I feel like this
I
is
hope I
the
have consent to say
backstory
this,
for
Kagiri.
everyone.
You
But,
didn't want
we
what did
didn't
you
want-
want? You want to go to the AG?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we wanted to go to the AG. We wanted to do a show, an event, and then we go to the AG.
Okay.
And then last year, we were both in our friends' lineup, and we got excited.
Oh.
Yeah.
You're like,
You
okay, maybe
literally
weddings
got
aren't so
excited.
Yeah,
bad.
in fact, Kagiri came and was like, babe, we're doing this. We're doing this, and we're doing this next year, a whole wedding. And me in the excitement, I was like, yeah, this is so beautiful. Can we just
have a
it?
wedding? Yeah.
So from the onset, we didn't have like boundaries within ourselves.
Okay. Makes sense.
We started this whole thing. So, and then the closer it got to now, and for us, we decided to do our events back to back, the Rora show and the wedding. So we, from how we were budgeting towards both events, we had this number in mind of say 300 in the Rora show, and then at first it was 50. We wanted 50 guys only.
What a dream.
What a dream. In fact, everyone had tell that we are going to have 50 people in the wedding. They're like, you are? Okay. All
cool
the best.
Story.
So, and me, I'm a recovering people pleaser, by the way.
In recovery.
Yeah, because every single time we'd have a conversation with Kags, and then I need to go back and have a conversation with my folks. I'd go there, and before I even say anything, they've already told me a list of what they want. And it's so difficult for me to say no at that point.
Yeah.
And I remember we were fighting so bad because I'd come back home and say, oh, maybe we can just consider 100 people. Yeah. And for me, I was accepting a lot of things, especially for the Rora show, because that's what I was like, okay, we can let the parents
do
whatever
thing.
they want. Then for the wedding, we can decide everything. But what I realized is the minute I had them, have a say in the Rora show, it didn't stop them from asking for things during the wedding.
Oh my God, because I'm usually like, when I do get married, I'll give the ratio for my parents to do their thing. But now I'm listening to this and I'm like,
okay, so we're having a meeting next week. We do the same thing for the wedding. I'm like, yikes. Yeah. So from the onset, I think what matters is how you set the tone from the very beginning, because it's very difficult to now do it in the middle of the planning when you've been saying yes to everything. At some point, I just had to bring in the budget conversation, because both of us were paying for literally everything. So it just had to be like a budget conversation. And I was like, beyond that, we can't be able to do. Unless you guys want to pay for everything, then we
By
can
all
do that.
means.
Yeah. So that really helped me. But I really wish I was very stern from the beginning with both ourselves and then now over to like the family. Yeah.
Okay. That's interesting. Dhvani, who also wanted a small wedding.
Yes. I don't even know if I wanted it. What I wanted was we go to the AG, we sign, and then
We do
all
a
us
party.
and all our friends, fly to like Morocco or Greece or I don't know, somewhere, and just throw a big party in a very colorful hotel, pop champagne, and be like, we're married.
Yeah.
Oh, what
That
a
was my
dream.
What a dream. What a dream.
That would have been fun.
Yeah, that would have been so nice.
And
Yeah,
I
it
wanted to
does
be
sound
like, I
fun.
literally planned it out in my head. I wanted all my friends to take a week of annual leave and we'd do tour, like we'd go sightseeing, we'd do fun activities, and it would be the last day, like the day before we all travel or 2 days before, that we'd now throw this party, and anyway.
Then you met African parents.
Yeah.
And Indian parents.
Yeah.
And that was just not going to happen.
Yeah.
So
Because weddings in India are also such a thing.
Yeah.
such a thing, such a big thing. And I mean, one of the lessons I would say is do not let the emotional manipulation get to you.
Yeah.
Because that was one thing that I think threw me off. And if I could go back, I would realize that at weddings, the emotions run high.
Yeah.
Everybody is tense. And so people tend to emotionally manipulate you to get what they want.
Yeah.
Right? And you
Like, but I
have to
gave
be able
birth to you.
exactly. But I gave
I carried you for
but
9
I
months.
carried you for 9 months.
You can
and
give me like this.
what is this? This is such a small thing. Like when I
Yeah.
explained, I'll never forget when I told my mom what I wanted as my dream wedding. She was like, "It's okay, that can be your third wedding." So because I've had 2 weddings. I had one last year, which is
The
like
traditional.
the traditional, which I guess is like the version of the Rora show.
Yeah.
And then I had the white wedding this year. And I think the thing also for me that made it very tricky was because we're from 2 different countries and cultures, or 3, my side of the family felt like the traditional wedding was theirs. So they could do what they wanted.
Yeah.
And his side of the family felt the white wedding was now their chance to do what they wanted.
Yeah.
So nobody was actually thinking, what did Evans and Dhvani want?
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
like
What does
your
the couple
side.
want?
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
like your side
Yeah.
had the chance to do what you.
Now it's time
our
for
turn.
us.
Exactly. So that introduced a very unique dynamic. Also, I guess it's an opportunity for you to build a stronger relationship, or also put boundaries early, set them as a precedent with your in-laws, because I think for me, it was easier for me to control my family at the traditional wedding. Like I would just tell my mom, like, "Ma, I don't like,
We're
it's
not
a
doing
no.
that."
Like
Yeah.
we're just not doing that." And my mom and I have a best friend relationship. So, we could argue it out, and I felt like we could respectfully be like, nah.
Yeah.
That was trickier with his parents because we don't have that sort of relationship.
Yeah.
So it was also learning how your in-laws speak and what they understand, and trying to find a way to say no to them without saying no. Yes, I think that's a key thing. So there's a lot of emotional intelligence that you must exercise for you to be able to learn like how to make sure those boundaries aren't crossed. And I'll just say, hope for the best.
Did any of your parents or their parents share with you why they felt entitled to the wedding? Because it's really an African Indian parent thing to be entitled to your children's wedding. Did you ever have any conversations about why they felt that way?
Definitely. I mean, actually with both sides. So I feel like with my mom's side, she felt entitled to the wedding in that for her, it wasn't actually her entitlement. As an Indian living in Nigeria, and because my dad is late, she felt that if I didn't give her the opportunity to do things the right way, they would treat her like as a foreigner, as a woman that has led her children off off on the wrong path. Like, her husband dies, and then all of a sudden, as a foreigner, she decided not to. Her children are now wayward. They're not doing things the right way, etc. So that was her argument with me.
It was redemption.
Yes, it was redemption, essentially. Okay. Yes. So it was very hard for me to fight that argument. Yeah, that's a very difficult argument to fight because it's fair. I could only imagine. So I was like, okay, fine. On his parents' side, I think their first statement was, "We've been to so many weddings."
It's our time.
It is our time for people to come to our wedding.
Yeah.
And I think for them, it was, we are also giving you like the opportunity to build bonds with all these people now
who come to your wedding.
Who come to the wedding.
Yeah,
so
because that's definitely a conversation starter. Oh, I came to your wedding.
Exactly.
It was this.
It was this. And then people feel special. And,
that
and
they
then it
invited.
becomes, exactly. And then like a relationship builds from there. And I guess also for me as a foreigner, they felt that was even more important since I'm coming into the country to sort of like come into a group. And then I think last but not least, for both sides, it was to show off to the other side that, this family you are marrying into, we are not small. For both sides.
Oh my God. Yeah. Okay. And to other people as well.
Yes. And to other people as well. Yeah. Both sides were like, our children are not, they're not just coming from anywhere.
I think for me, from Kagiri's side, his parents were very chill, surprisingly. But I think it's a firstborn son thing. Like, they really don't interfere with your business. Because even for my older brother, when he was, getting married, he did whatever he wanted to do. Of course, they would ask him, like, don't you think you should not, you should do this?
But for daughters, it's different.
For daughters, it's different. Okay. Like for Kags, we didn't even have to have this conversation with the folks because they would actually come and ask him, how do you want to go about this? They would suggest and not,
this is what we're doing.
Yeah, and not decide for him, which was easy for us. But on my end, they obviously had, or they have, from one I know, from the conversation that I had with my mom and my dad is, this is the last wedding in the family. I'm the last born. I'm the only daughter. They've had this whole picture of what my wedding would ideally look like. And so there was that bit where they had envisioned, the wedding. I think maybe even before I was born. And then there was also this bit of, me, I was Kichwangumu. I moved in with Kags years back. Yeah, we moved in together. And I think that is one thing I don't advise people to do, but I advocate for. Because even when planning the wedding, we were not really thinking about, after this, we're settling where, we are going to do what, where. We had already had that.
Houses.
Yeah, we had already done that before. So we were focusing on the wedding. Like, we already knew this is where we're at. And that kind of like helped me mentally. Because now, after, it was just, okay, let's now continue with the life the way we've been. The noise is over. But then also what that did to my mom is she had this whole picture of, at least let's do the wedding right.
Okay, because you
had already done a wrong thing.
Oh.
You're already living in sin.
Yeah.
So she was, in fact, the last day before, because us guys did everything at one location. And the location luckily has like a ladies' room, a gents' room, a place for the bride to like change, do their makeup, shower, everything. So for me, I wasn't coming from home. I was coming from the location.
Yeah, you weren't being picked.
And it was a whole issue where she was like, hata huwezi toka kwa nyumba ya mama yako, you have to come. And for me, I was like, I don't have budget for transport.
Yeah. Also budgeting time.
Oh, is it like for you to be picked?
For me to be picked. With the lessons.
With the lessons. I told them, you pick me from this room here. You'll do everything from this room
You
here.
were also picked from a room.
I was picked from I was picked from a room too.
And I think that's one thing that maybe they don't tell you about weddings is it doesn't have to be the same story as your cousin who did a wedding or your friend who did a wedding this way. Whatever works for you do
Works
it.
for you.
Works for you. So for me, I just told my mom, I will look for another way to do things right. This is what I want.
Okay.
Yeah.
Take us through the planning process and some things you wish you knew, some
Yeah.
things that you weren't told
Yeah.
about the planning process, like things that really stand out.
Yeah. So what I wasn't told and I got in mid planning was a planner. And my planner, Miriam, God bless her soul, she volunteered herself.
Okay.
Like literally, I didn't even have to pay her.
Mm.
She just came and told me, this is my thing, let me plan for you.
Mm.
Because of how stressful it was getting. And this was way after the Rorashio. Now it's a few weeks to the wedding. I wish I started with her from even when I was thinking about the wedding. Yeah, it would have been way easier because she made everything, those 3 weeks to the wedding, I was doing nothing. Like she was literally doing everything, coordinating the bridesmaids, coordinating the decor, coordinating the location, the whatever, she was doing everything. Literally, she was just updating me. Unless she needed something really important, she specifically went and told all the suppliers not to call me or CAGs, which was amazing.
Yeah.
And I asked her for rates later on, shared it around. I think it's the most important thing. Yeah. So there was that bit. At first I thought I could do everything on my own, but
things they don't tell you,
Yeah.
you can't do things alone.
yeah, because I was like, I'm an events person. I can do this. I do this in my sleep.
Kikuramba.
Yeah,
Kikuramba.
iliniramba.
The kuramba.
And then maybe the other thing is like ask for advice a lot. I asked like even from the budget that I use, the budget sheet, I got it from my friend Wanjiro. Like I asked people who have done it before to help me out with the whole process. Yeah, I mean, something also important is if you like your support system, you need them the most at that time. Yeah, I remember I was saying like on one of my dress fittings, no one was available and I was crying and I couldn't believe why am I crying? Yeah, because I'm going alone.
Yeah.
I'm trying to call people. Babu was styling us, so he wasn't in the country. He had already told me
He wouldn't be
he
there.
wouldn't be there. But then like my friends weren't available, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And I had to understand. I had to understand. But I think at that moment, you really need, like throughout the planning and on the day, you need your support system completely. On the day of the wedding, when they were doing the setup, the church setup, one of my friends came and told me that my best mate, she was like, today, allow me to make decisions without consulting you. I was like, Sawa, I trust
Do
you.
you.
I trust
Yeah.
you can be there to support me. So I think those are the key things I'd say, were super important during the planning. Compare budgets. Don't settle on one just because that person is your friend or because I realized watu ugongwa. Yeah, like you.
You know, something I learned is that every time there's bridal attached to
To it.
anything, the price goes
The
high.
price goes high.
Makeup
Times
is
10.
fine.
Yeah.
When it's bridal makeup, when it's bridal hair, when
Yeah.
it's bridal photo shoot,
Yeah.
everything goes
When
high.
it's bridesmaids dress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If
The
it's
same
just
dress,
a normal
they would
dress,
make it,
but
for
if it's a bridal
bridesmaid,
something,
The
the price
goes
goes
up.
high. Yeah.
So compare quotations, consult a lot. That helped me so much. I was consulting every single person. Yeah, I think before I even settled on a makeup person, I had consulted almost like 4 or 5 people to ask about it. So yeah, I think those are the key things I'd say.
Okay. Dhvani?
I think number one is get you a Sharon because
Yep, that support system.
get you a Sharon, boo. Because honestly,
Period.
hey, do.
Yeah.
I think support system, like you said, babe, is just you need that.
Yeah.
100%. I think also as part of the support system, like, I mean, honestly, my support system is insane. Like, I remember one of my dress fittings here in Nairobi. So I had 2 different dresses, and one of them I got from Dubai. And then I had one that was done here in Nairobi by an awesome designer, Ogake. And I remember I made the mistake of going for a dress fitting by myself. And I was just telling Sharon in passing because I was like, she lived close to me, and I was just like, I went. And of course, I got scolded because Sharon was like, why in the world
can you
go for a dress fitting by
Tracy was
yourself?
crying because she was alone.
Yeah,
You are choosing to just go alone.
I was choosing to go by myself. I was like, it looks good. Let's keep it moving. But of course, she never let me go for another dress fitting by myself. And as we fitted the dress more and more and it felt more real, it was important to have her there. One, because I think I was also so exhausted by the planning that I wasn't as excited about the wedding. And it was her crying, seeing me in my wedding dress that made me realize, oh my God, like
you're in a wedding
dress. Yeah, in a wedding dress, right? Because I feel like my mind had become detached from the idea that this was actually an amazing thing I was doing because of all the stress. So that, and
also Anne flew to Dubai.
Exactly. So now for Dubai, I also told my other friend, like, oh, I'm just gonna go try out, go to a couple of boutiques, try some dresses out. And she was like, oh, who's going with you? I was like, oh, no one. I mean, it's all right. I'll just go by myself. And then like half an hour later, she tells me, check your email. And I checked my email and she's forwarded me a ticket that she bought literally to fly from Prague to Dubai for a weekend just to take me dress shopping.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's unbelievable what your support system, like if you give them the chance to be there for you, what they can do for you is insane. So I think that's very important to just get you psyched up, excited, all of those things. You need that sort of energy. I think also an important thing you need is gatekeepers, which also Sharon and Anne became for me. So many people want to reach you, and not all of them are going to reach you with things that honestly matter at that point, or positive vibes, basically, at that point. So you need people that essentially, like what Sharon and Anne did for me, where if you have anything you want to say to Dhvani, don't say them to Dhvani, say it to us. And we'll either make the decision or we'll know what to ask her or like what is relevant enough. And I think that saved me so much stress and anxiety. It was literally the most unbelievable thing. So definitely have gatekeepers. Have like one or two friends who are the ones that are your intermediary, so to speak, and funnel the information that is relevant to you and remove all the noise. And then from a more technical perspective, I would say line up your vendors before you pick the date of your wedding. Don't pick the date of your wedding and then look for vendors because you will struggle.
You had to change your date a couple
I had
of
to
times.
change my wedding date a couple of times.
She changed it for Shiko.
Yes, and I actually changed it for Shiko.
Changed it for Shiko.
I changed my wedding date for Shiko. Actually, I picked my first wedding date
based on her
availability. And then picked the second one again based on her availability. But what I realized was she was the only vendor I thought about when I was picking my wedding date.
Same here.
I didn't think about my venue.
You didn't know your venue was available or
exactly. So when I'm going my wedding dates, I'm going to different venues. I'm like, I would like to book this place. They're like, sorry.
We've been booked.
I think I was lucky.
Wedding venues are booked a year in advance.
It's so insane. I was just like, people think about their weddings.
Immediately you get engaged. Find a venue.
Find a venue. Because it's crazy out here. And find your other vendors also, because vendors also stay being booked like no man's business. And it can be a very frustrating process. So I changed my wedding date 3 times. And that was not fun. And then I also changed it because of weather. I was told that the weather would not be great. Turns out the wedding date I was going to have, the weather turned out beautiful that day. The wedding date I actually had, it rained in the morning.
It rained in the morning.
So things you can't control.
Truly survive.
Exactly.
And in the midst of rain, we were fine. Exactly. What are some things they don't tell you about wedding planning that surprised you? That you were shook, that you were like, oh wow, I didn't know this.
Do you want to go first as I think about mine?
Yeah, I mean, this, I feel like this might sound like it's been said, but I feel like it never really settled for me. Weddings are expensive, bro. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, they don't really tell you how. Like, people say, oh, yeah, weddings are expensive. No, they're
Yeah.
expensive. Like,
That's
Bro,
super
let me tell
expensive,
you.
by the way.
I saw I think like you told me about a quotation for flowers or something you got. I was
Yeah.
like, flowers.
guy. I was negotiating how many artificial versus real flowers they should use at my wedding. I said, this one, is anybody going to touch it or be too close? No, artificial.
Yeah.
Artificial it must be.
Yeah.
So no one tells you how expensive weddings are.
Yeah.
And no one tells you how quickly the costs can add up
Can
if you
come
let
up.
people get carried
Yeah,
away.
add
Yeah.
this, add that. Or if you let Instagram,
Yes.
Instagram, what are they called? Inspos.
Inspo, yeah,
Lie to you.
Pinterest.
You just, I can add this.
Exactly. By
Then
the
you
time
go
you're
get a
adding-
quotation, you're like, where?
Also, it also taught me, or what they didn't tell me, is how much of a negotiator you have to become.
Yeah.
Because of how expensive weddings are.
Yeah.
Because every single coin adds up. Like, you might think, oh, this is just an extra 1K here. There'll be an extra 10K there. An extra, before you know it, that's $1 million that you have just dropped on
Yep.
extras. So you become an expert negotiator. You need to be, or else people in the wedding industry will roll over you, bro.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like,
The wedding
yeah.
industry is not for the
it's
faint-hearted.
not for the faint.
Yeah.
It's not for the
Yeah.
weak. It's not
Yeah.
for the
And maybe
weak.
to add on to that,
Yeah.
on the expenses bit, I know it's good to consult, but also don't listen to people a lot. Because, everyone all of a sudden becomes an expert in weddings. Yeah, and they'll be like, no, use this
100%.
MC. This one was great.
Yeah.
No, as long as you yourself know what you want from the beginning. Otherwise,
from the
you'll be
get-go.
swayed.
Yeah.
You'll be swayed. And then see what's important. Like for me, 2 of my cakes were dummies. They were not actual cakes.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's something I
Same.
was surprised. I was like, I
Oh,
have
you
to
didn't
have
know, yeah.
5 cakes and what? And it was
Yeah.
so expensive.
Yeah.
By the way, even cakes. are expensive.
Honestly, I
Cakes
did
are-
not know.
I
Also,
didn't
your
know.
cake quotation surprised
I didn't
me.
know.
I was like, sorry,
Yeah.
cake quotation.
Yeah,
I was
and you wanted
yeah.
to look good.
Yeah.
But then luckily, the supplier was like, we can actually do 2 dummies. People don't need all that
Yeah, they
Yeah.
don't.
cake. And then
yeah.
we'll do the pre-packed ones.
Exactly.
Smart move. So yeah, that was actually...
Yeah.
Because I sat in some of your vendor meetings and I
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
like involved in the wedding planning. After all of it, I was like, you know what? I can't afford a wedding. I went and told my boyfriend,
Yeah.
babe, we
See,
can't
man.
afford a wedding.
No.
We can wait
Yeah.
a bit because we can't. The way I've seen that budget,
Yeah.
hatuwezi,
It's not-
But
hatujafika
somehow,
bado.
like, I don't know. I know there's planning for the finances,
Yeah.
but for us, our budget shot up times 2 what we had initially, like twice.
So what do you do when that happens?
You just plan your... I don't know. Like
You get broke.
me, I don't. Let me tell you, you get broke.
You
Yes.
go broke.
Luckily, we had started living together. We have a savings account
Yeah.
together, and we had to go into money that we hadn't planned to use for the wedding. But also now, we had to dedicate the checks that are coming to go to the wedding bit.
Okay.
Yeah, we vow to not do a committee and also to not get into debt. So also there's some things that we really wanted, but we had to sacrifice.
Yeah.
But yeah, it somehow I don't know how God did it for us, but He really came through.
He really came through.
No, He
Imagine
came through. At
sometimes
some
it's a
point, we
God
were like
thing.
2 weeks to
Yeah.
the wedding. We were sleeping and we are not sleeping. The anxiety is so
Oh,
bad.
yeah,
It's
it's
so bad. He's like, you're
high.
awake. I'm like, yeah, I'm awake. What are you thinking about?
The
wedding. Yeah, we still haven't paid this and that.
Yeah.
So also it's good to agree on payment terms with your suppliers. Because like some of, our suppliers allowed us to pay at least up to a week after the wedding.
Yeah.
When our mind was settled, we were able to figure out our finances nicely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like just do those things early in advance. I've
Yeah.
remembered something that surprised me. Do your government things early in advance.
Oh my God,
yes.
Yo, I didn't know.
forgot
Like, why
that
would they
one.
just be
Yes.
against people getting married? They rejected our application.
Yes.
Yeah, even
they do
has-
not want people
yeah.
to get married in this country. I don't understand.
What do you mean they rejected? What
Yeah,
did
they
say?
reject. They give you like a weird reason every time.
Yes.
Oh, clear a birth certificate. You upload it. Oh, your parents' occupation. Specify the occupation. Like that whole
Wow,
process
okay.
for me was tiresome.
And how much was, because now they've ongezad they
Yeah.
had said they'll add the
Yeah, I
prices.
think it was like 7 Gs.
Okay.
But then I don't know. Maybe for you might have been different.
Eh.
I mean, for me, it was different because also, like, as a foreigner, so there was now
'cause
that
of foreigner,
extra
the
stress.
special license. You have to get like a
you have
special
to get
license.
the normal and the
Yeah.
special license,
Yeah.
and for you to even get that,
Yeah.
my mom had to have an affidavit. What's the thing?
Yeah.
Certificate of like single status or whatnot.
Yeah.
It had to be approved by High Court judge in the capital. And then it had to be stamped by him, stamped by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Yeah.
It's then DHL'd here. Then the Nigerian embassy here has to stamp and say yes and verify that these documents are true and whatever. Of course, the Nigerians, we can never do anything straightforward. So the fellow said, oh, he also wants to call us in for an interview.
Yeah.
He asked my husband, so out of all the Kenyan women you saw,
chose this.
why did you come for our sister? It was literally the silliest thing.
Yeah.
And then they rejected our application. I think it was like 5 times or something, babe.
us
Like
too.
Yeah.
I
They
was
rejected
so
ours.
stressed and I was like, why did no one tell me? You know? And
To
I
do
think
the
that was the one
government
thing I
things.
wasn't happy with my planner. It's
Yeah.
like, how didn't you tell me that this was a thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now
I
even
didn't
doing
know.
research, a lot of people told me that they've experienced the same thing. But no one ever told me. I just thought you do it on eCitizen and that's it. Like you go for your whatever, you're done.
Exactly.
I didn't know either. Me, I just see people signing up there. I'm like, oh, cool. I didn't know there's like things that happen behind the scenes.
A lot of people actually don't sign the certificate on the day. They
'cause
get
they've
it
not
like months
need-
later.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I think we were just lucky. But then we had already suffered so much. I was just like,
Yeah.
bro, like,
Is
and
it a
these people-
must?
Yeah, because even the last time we had for them to approve,
Yeah.
we had to go somewhere in town. I don't remember which building
Sharia
it was.
house.
Sharia house, yes. And literally they do not care about you, your time, your anything. Like, after all, is you that wants to get married, Abi?
Yeah.
You will show up when we tell you. We had to show up the morning of our Itara.
Yeah.
Like, so I didn't even have time to like get my hair done or whatever because we had to show up at Sharia house to explain. We sat there for like 2-3 hours.
Yeah.
It's insane.
To explain you want to get married.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
And
after
why?
they've put up your notice for 21 days. You have to wait in case anyone goes and objects.
Yes.
The wedding.
The wedding.
Yeah.
They need to tell us more about these things, by
Yeah.
the way. For me,
Maybe
it was
the
surprising.
government just needs to make the process a lot more seamless.
But
Hopefully.
also, if people tell you though, like you can start.
You can start months before.
Yeah, way ahead
Okay.
of time. So that's something I wish someone told me.
Yeah.
I would have started way earlier. I would have started last year.
Yeah.
So that I won't be having that stress, like
Last
going to
minute
the
stress.
embassy how many times in a
Yeah.
day to beg them, oh, come back tomorrow. He's not in today. I mean,
Yeah.
the frustration.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
Let's talk about the gowns.
Yeah.
Because I think growing up, especially as girls, growing up, we've really romanticized I'm going to wear my wedding gown and it's going to look like this and I'm going to feel like this. So is it as magical as they tell us it is?
First of all, mine had a problem even on the day.
So did I.
But I was like, you know what? I can't cuss here.
Yeah.
But I was like, whatever is happening today, I'm wearing this gown like this. Yeah. In fact, all my bridesmaids are like, we are wearing this gown.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stop it. Stop even looking at whatever it is. But of course, I had been saving inspos on Pinterest and everything. And then, God bless his soul, Babu wanted to style us. I'm telling you, favor, we had so much favor. A lot of people came through for us. And Babu is expensive.
Yeah.
Like he's expensive because he's really good at what he does. He wanted to do it for both of us and our bridal teams and our parents for his portfolio. So all the dresses I had sent on Pinterest were like, he just saw them and he was like, nope. Nope. Too common. This doesn't look like you. So he sent me 2 designs and he was like, I think this would look nice on you. And I was like, yeah, definitely. So I didn't go with what I had been wanting. And I'd been saving this since maybe 2019. Yeah, I'd been saving gowns.
Yeah.
But he was like, no, let's do, when I look at you, this is how, this is your style.
Your style, yeah.
Simple, but classy, but what.
Mm.
And so that's how I ended up wearing that particular dress. And now the process of it is, so we went to, her name is Peggy. I think she's at the same place where Ogake is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it was interesting, the fittings and stuff. At some point, I hated the dress. Yeah, I really hated
So
the dress.
it's not like you wear it, then you're feeling butterflies and you're like,
at
magic.
first, no. I made a mistake of, I know maybe my mom might see this, of going with her for my first. Whatever, fitting.
Yeah.
And after that, Babu told me, don't come with your mom again. Because she body shamed me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
and I called her out.
My bridesmaid dress, I went for one fitting with my mom because she was also getting a dress done for the wedding. And she was like, oh, that's too much cleavage. You're showing us too much boob. You're doing this. It's too tight. It's this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, my mom told me, you need to lose that stomach. You stop eating. Yeah, it was no. In fact, she kept on pointing it like.
Can say.
She kept touching it,
and be like, no.
Imagine no.
No, I felt really bad. So when I went home, I told Babu, I want to change the dress design. I don't want
something less fitting.
Yeah, literally the next time I went Babu was like, no, we're not changing that dress. Stop this. Said, don't come with your mom again. And we're doing this dress. So even the next time, I could hear them just reassuring me. Everyone was just reassuring me and everything. So I think that spoiled my very fast fitting.
Yeah.
Right? But as we came closer towards the date, I started loving the dress. I started loving how I look in it. My dress was ready the day before the wedding at 10 p.m.
Wow.
Yeah. Well. But also my events were back to back. So I didn't have a lot of time. Yeah, and it had a bit of some changes we had asked for hadn't been done. So I just had to go with the dress
as it is.
As it was. So I think because of that anxiety, I didn't have that
magical experience.
Okay. Yeah. So maybe also start, I don't know, 2 months before. Because I did it like literally 3 weeks before. Yeah, so probably that was also kind of like my fault. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Dhvani?
I mean, so in my imaginary life, I'm a stylist. So I came up with the design for my dress. So one, I wanted like the first one to be made, and then I wanted to buy the second one. So in terms of the first one, and I also came up with what my husband also wore and his groomsmen. And I was just like, everybody's going to wear this and this color and change into this color. And that's just what it's going to be.
Yeah.
And then Sharon now helped me with the bridesmaids style because I wasn't sure, honestly, what to do with my bridesmaids.
Yeah.
I just knew the color. And I think I can be very specific when I want something. And I even remember for the bridesmaids' dresses, we went to the tailor and the color I wanted, she was showing, she was like, she didn't have, it's not in the market, blah, blah, blah. And I just sat down and Sharon was on her way and I was like, I'm just going to wait for Sharon because I know the color my bridesmaids are going to wear and it's not that one. It's not that. So, however, we'll find that color, ocean blue, we'll find that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. For my dress, I guess because I was a part of like the creation process, it felt very personal for me. I'd always wanted a Zuhair Murad dress growing up. I cannot afford a Zuhair Murad dress. So I made one, essentially. And I think also who makes your dress is so key. And that's why I always shout Ogake's name because the level of professionalism, patience that woman had with me, unrivaled. And also the fact that I could tell her these were all the thoughts going in my head. These are the different designs that I wanted to, and she would like sketch and re-sketch until I was happy with what like we had chosen or decided on. So I think choose if you're getting a dress made, choose the person wisely. Because it makes a lot of difference. And for my second dress, I honestly, because I was buying a ready-made dress, I just went and tried on dresses until I tried on a dress and I saw myself and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
This is
the
it.
one.
And
Yeah.
it has pockets.
Yeah.
So I definitely had, for my second dress, a lot more like Cinderella moment. For my first dress, I guess because I was part of the process, it was like a slower, it was like, yes, this is what I envisioned. Very nice. But it wasn't like, oh my God. Like, princess.
I think what you said about Ogake is important because I realized the people you work with, your vendors actually can make or break your wedding,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because it has to be people
150%.
you have a good vibe with,
Yeah.
a good relationship with. Because
Mutual
imagine
trust.
you don't like your makeup artist, and then the
Yes.
day of the wedding, her vibes are just like,
Oh,
Oh,
it's the first thing
and it's the
experiencing
first
in the
person
morning.
you're
That's the
experiencing in the
person,
morning.
exactly.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
when you're having vendor meetings, you have to pick people that like your
Feel the
personality.
vibe.
Yeah, feel the vibe, the energy.
Feel the vibe,
Yeah.
the energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also,
100%.
I guess then when it comes to the gowns thing, what we know is that we shouldn't be looking out for like the magical experience because that doesn't always happen.
No, that doesn't.
Yeah.
I
always
think you should just be
happen.
comfortable also.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Comfortable,
Yeah.
feel very great
Yeah.
when you wear your dress.
Yeah. And the people you go with
And the
to the
people
fittings
you go with
with
to the
is
fittings
important.
with is
Yeah.
important.
Yeah.
Because I
Also,
think
the
your
person
mom,
making your
My
dress
mom made a comment.
should make you feel like,
Yeah,
you're
hype
right.
you up,
I think that's
my
also
my
what
yeah,
helped me.
exactly. Even I feel like with my second dress, even my mom
Yeah,
pulled
she
a
did,
Nini on
yeah.
me. My second dress, I remember I sent her photos of it because I was so excited, right? And she was like, "This is so basic."
Lucky with you,
As in,
moms.
I was like, bro.
Moms who are watching us.
She was like, you can do so much better than this.
Yeah.
And I've already bought the dress.
It's in your house.
It's in my house. I was like, "Ah,
It's too late.
It's too late."
Yeah.
And I was like, you
Yeah.
know what, mommy? I love it. So whatever. Of course, after all the drama on the day of, she was like, "Oh, this
You
dress
look
is
so
so
beautiful."
beautiful."
That was like
Yeah.
a crowd favorite.
Yeah, that was her
Yeah.
favorite too. And I
Yeah.
was like, all this noise.
Yeah.
And I just looked very fine in the dress. Although
Yeah.
the dress ripped.
It
They had
ripped.
to sew me into it.
We had to sew her into the dress
Literally, yes.
mid-wedding.
Mid-wedding.
Because she changed from her first dress to the second one. So there's a gap in between where the guests were like doing a cocktail thing. So she was supposed to now go change, then do her decor reveal, right? So in the middle of her changing, the zip ripped. So there's no backup dress. This is the backup. This is the
second
dress.
dress.
So we are literally like shouting, asking for a needle and thread. So we literally sewed her in.
Yeah.
So we weren't able to do the decor reveal because the guests couldn't wait in the cocktail
Yes.
area for too long.
Yeah.
So
you
we're
have like
literally
maybe
there.
10 minutes to do the decor reveal.
Yeah. So we're literally there just trying to like sew her
Yeah.
into the dress.
I remember when it
Yeah.
happened and Sharon was like, "Oh my God, the zip like broke or whatever." My immediate reaction was I literally cried for 10 seconds. I was
Yeah.
like, I cried and then I just stopped.
Yeah.
And I was like,
can I have some
Yeah,
champagne?
exactly. And I was like, can somebody bring me some champagne, please? I'm too sober for this.
It was literally like a sob.
Yeah,
It wasn't a cry.
it was a sob. I was like, and then I was like, okay, what do we do? Also, that's why choose your calm bridesmaids to be with you in that moment. Because I know there were some of my bridesmaids who would have been like, hey,
what do we do?
What would have stressed me out?
Yeah.
And then Sharon was very calm. And then she just went out to my other bridesmaids and she was like, who here can sew? And luckily, I had a bridesmaid that could sew very well. So she's like, and luckily, she's also one of the calmest people.
Yeah.
You know? So I was literally bent over. Sharon was sewing starting from the top. She was sewing from the bottom. So they meet in the middle. Yeah. And I was just leaning over and my husband was holding the glass of champagne with a straw in it. And my cousin was feeding me food and I had a towel on my chest so that the food won't fall on the dress.
What?
And I was just
literally for 30 minutes.
Some
science came through.
God.
And the rest of the wedding, I just kept looking at her. I'm like, don't
Don't
dance
move,
like that.
don't dance. The dress will come out.
Calm down. Yeah. And it stood like
It
instead.
held
Yeah.
They had to
Yeah,
cut me
that's
out
really
of the
dope.
dress.
Yeah, at the end of the night now, they
You
had
had
to
to
cut
cut
her.
me out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it stood
Okay.
that well.
So as we wrap up, let's talk bridesmaids. Because I think that's another thing we romanticize as girls growing up. And like,
Yeah.
I already know, I've known my bridesmaids for like years.
Yeah.
They keep changing because I
Yeah.
lose friends or I
Yeah.
gain friends. But like, I've always like, not just me, I'm sure a lot of women have romanticized the bridesmaids thing. So what are some things you wish you knew or some things they didn't tell you about bridesmaids?
I'd say first thing is have someone to just coordinate them by themselves, with not you as the
How
bride.
many did you have?
I had 8.
Okay, she had 10.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I feel you on
I
that.
was feeling like mine are too many, but
Yeah.
so one person to coordinate them, their dresses, their shoes. So one person would come and ask me, so what color do you want for shoes? Because dresses and everything we had already decided, or rather Babu had already decided for me a long time ago. But coordinate what earring color, just to make them look nicer. I had one person who did that. Where they're going to sleep, calling them that morning. Because what us guys did, one thing before I forget. If you can do your photo shoot in the morning, that they didn't tell us, but we did it, and it was the most fantastic thing. So we did the whole brides. You see that shoot where after the church you go outside, you shoot and then come back.
Do it in the
3
morning.
hours in the morning, immediately after the makeup is fresh, you're still looking nice. That was the best thing we ever did. So anyway, back to bridesmaids. So I had someone to coordinate for me, which was amazing because we had an issue with the tailor. I never even knew. I knew about it like after the wedding. Otherwise, I would have been so stressed. I would have been like, oh my God, their dresses are not ready. etc. So have someone to coordinate them. About choosing them, I think also you need a lot of discernment because the initial list I had, I had more people.
Okay.
But then I don't even know how I was able to discern this because even like one of the people I want to have on there doesn't talk to me anymore.
Oh, wow.
I don't know what I did. But they don't talk to me anymore. And there's someone who I considered a very close friend.
That you can have
in your
lineup.
Then it was just like after the wedding. So I was like, hey, ningekuwa nimemweka hapa.
Imagine.
Ama akose kukuja for the wedding. I'd have felt so bad. But I think you need a lot of discernment and you need to have these conversations with your friends. Because I also realized that some people who don't want to be bridesmaids.
Oh.
Yeah. It's an expensive affair.
It is,
for them. The dresses, the makeup, the shoes, or maybe if you want to do it out of town, you have to consider all those things.
Flights,
So it's an expensive affair. And at least discuss like the budget you're looking at in terms of, how the dresses would be, if they want to do it together, if they don't want to do it together. And so, I used to cringe at bridal proposals, but I did. I did one.
They're cute.
I think it was the cutest thing also. It really made them warm up.
Yeah, the moment special.
And it made the moment special. And then, I was able to have like one-on-one conversations with them. So you said, yes, this is how it looks like. Do you still want to be part of it? And I would need you to come through for me a lot. So I just laid that open and once it was agreeable, it was easy to proceed. I didn't have, luckily they were very like
down
for
committed,
things.
Yeah,
they were committed wholly and fully. They were committed. The shield, those gatekeepers you're talking about, I think all of them were gatekeeping me from a lot of conversations. Like, no, you're not focusing on that. On the day they showed up, they had my champagne ready, my shots whenever I needed them. They were there. They were there for me throughout, made sure everything was seamless, including they're the ones who even planned like the after parties for both the Rora show and the wedding. I didn't even have any. I was just like, I'm showing up. We're both showing up. So I think even for groomsmen, it's super important because with guys need at least a groomsman or a best man who's going to lainisha them.
Someone hands-on.
Hands-on. Because guys tend to be a bit more comfortable.
Yeah, they are just chill.
Yeah, I don't know if you had an issue, but me, at some point, I just told them, I'm canceling this wedding. I'm not doing this with you. because you say you're going to do this and in the evening you haven't done it.
Yeah.
And me, I'm such a planner.
Yeah,
Like,
grooms
I
in
want
general are very relaxed.
Yeah.
They're very
They
last
don't-
minute.
Yeah.
So I think even just having groomsmen and a bridal team that, they remind you, have you gone for your this? Have you done this? Have you talked to so and so? Have you etc? Yeah. So
okay.
Yeah. I would echo a lot of those. I think have gatekeepers. For me, I had literally the only bridesmaid. I had 10 bridesmaids. The only one that wasn't flying in was Sharon.
yeah.
The rest of the 9 flew
Local
in.
girl.
So definitely have gatekeepers because planning that whole thing can be hectic. So like even your bridesmaids without meaning to can become hectic.
Yeah.
And so it's very important to have like someone that's like, you have a problem, come to me, don't ask Dhvani any questions.
Yeah.
So I think also my gatekeepers, Sharon and Anne, ended up being something of like event/logistics planners because they thought through everything from all the information they needed, from visas to like the Ubers they get at the airport to like how to transport them from here to there to their bridesmaids dress like try-ons in town, all those things like that I definitely had zero capacity to do. They did all of those and they made sure whenever people had issues, they didn't come to me about it because that would have just stressed me
out. You have a rate card.
Yeah,
Sharon's
bridal services. Because I remember at the end of the wedding, one of my other bridesmaids said to me, Sharon is so small, but honestly, she can be really straight and scary. I was like, good. She was doing her job. She was like, nobody speak to the bride. Speak to me. So I think that's a key one. And I think because of that, we're older. Your bridesmaids have to realize that as much as this is a celebration, there's a lot of work that goes into this. So they're not being picked just for vibes. Yeah. Right. Actually, they're also being picked to like actually contribute and like help make this day perfect for you. And I think one lesson I learned that I don't even know if I could have changed it, I probably could have done a better job, is let your bridesmaids see the process. Because if they don't know how exhausting it is for you, they don't know. So they can add on to your stress simply because they don't understand how much you're doing, right? So simple thing like my babes were flying in, so we had to figure out accommodation for them. We had to go look at several places together with Sharon. We had to negotiate the price, even for the bridesmaids' dresses, all of that. And I think because people don't know that you're making all this effort for them to make it easier for them, they sort of take it for granted and can add extra stress on top of that. Yeah. So I definitely would have involved them a lot more to see all the things I was actually doing, one for them, and also all the stress I actually had with the wedding itself, because I think they would have given me more grace and more compassion. So I think that's really key. And you're gonna just need to have a bridesmaid that needs to just deal with the groom's party because honestly, I don't understand
men when they're left alone.
When they're left alone, they can't be trusted.
They can't be trusted.
Yeah. The number of fights. Like my husband didn't know that he had to tell his groomsmen there was an after party. He was like,
they didn't even know there was an itara.
Exactly, they didn't even know there was an itara. Like it was that crazy. So Sharon had to create a WhatsApp group. Tell my husband, just add your groomsmen and give them the whole lowdown. And the funniest thing is, the ones who had wives, we had to add them too, so that they would actually coordinate the men that were showing up. So that's entirely necessary. If not, your husband will embarrass you, and his groomsmen will embarrass you.
They'll come with no blazers.
They will come inside with no blazers. They will not wear tie. That guy will say, it's making me feel it's too formal. the things, honestly. So 100% have someone that's coordinating the groom's party, or else you'll be embarrassed. And I think just have fun with your friends, man. It's a bonding experience. They have your back today. I think the most important thing for me also was having all my bridesmaids in that moment supporting me really made me realize, one, how people can come through for you. Even way more than you'd ever think that they can come through for you. And I think what was also really nice was learning from them that the reason they would come through for me that hard is because they would imagine I would do exactly the same for them or more. And that's like such a validating feeling, I think, for me, of knowing that all this love you're receiving that you think is so much, you're getting it because these people feel this love from you.
Yeah.
I'm getting emotional. Anyway.
Don't,
But
girl, we
that
cried
is-
enough.
We cried enough. We did. Oh my God,
enough.
the tears.
Yeah.
There were so many tears.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's and just make sure you have fun with it and treat your bridesmaids like with respect.
Yeah.
Show them that you appreciate.
Don't be a bridezilla.
Yeah, and show them that you appreciate, right? Like the effort that they're putting in. Don't just make it all about you all the time.
Yeah.
Do special things for them too, because then they feel like, okay, like this is also our moment. It's not just your moment.
Yeah. Well, as a bridesmaid, because that's the only experience I have, I've never been a bride. As a bridesmaid, I think I would say that like you're there to support. It's not about you. It's not your day. You're there to support your friend, your babe during her day and make this day something memorable. So just like, because there's a lot of like family politics that happen behind the scenes. There's a lot of like just general wedding politics that happen behind the scene. So if you can just like show up for your friend and make sure that she has a good time, because that's what you're there for. That's what she'll remember. I mean, the stress will come and go, but then those memories you make with your friend on the bridal shower or the wedding day or whatever, those are the things that she'll carry on and she'll remember forever. So yeah, I think that's what I would say in terms of the bridesmaids thing. So last question that I have, because we haven't really touched on the traditional weddings aspect of things they don't tell you about weddings. So let's talk dowry and let's make it as brief as we can.
Yeah.
So what are things they don't tell you about dowry and traditional weddings?
The whole thing. I mean, first of all, I don't even, and that's my fault. I don't understand the Kikuyu culture so well. Even I don't speak Kikuyu.
Yeah.
So it was interesting to see. It was interesting to see. First of all, the amount they were selling me at. I saw that, and that's because I really pushed to see it.
Yeah.
What they don't tell you is you have to make sure that beforehand, like you guys communicate with each of the parents and families beforehand and tell them your expectations. Because like for me, I told my dad, I don't want complications. I don't want you guys to ask. I don't want, first of all, this and that person to speak because I know it will be complicated. I don't want this one involved. I don't want. So I think what they don't tell you is also you just go and say your expectations so that they don't go over the top, because most of the time you're not even part of the
negotiation.
And most of the time you won't even know what happened. So yeah, I think that is the most key thing. But also I don't understand why we still have to do dowry, but it's fine. Let's do it. I think that's the only thing.
When you saw the amount, were you like, oh, this is a lot?
I was like, this is a little
kidogo.
I know I said don't be dramatic, but
could have asked for a bit more.
But yeah, I think okay. But for me, it was I know my folks didn't overdo it, and it's because I specifically asked them. We're just starting our lives.
Go easy.
This is as much as he might get support from his family. This is him. Like it's his responsibility. So just be very fair. And I think they did exactly that. Which,
that's good.
Which was happy. A happy thing for me.
Okay. Dhvani?
I think for me, honestly, the traditional wedding was so many things they don't tell you. And I think they specifically didn't tell me because they know I would have been
no.
like, hell no. So just get ready to be shocked. Get ready to also be told a lot of times, this is the tradition. Like you can't come and just change things. But also learn where you draw the line. You put your foot down because you can change. For my culture, because we're from two different countries, two different cultures, I think the thing I found interesting and I wasn't so happy about, but I was like, I am not interested in being bought because, bro, you cannot afford me.
Yeah.
Even if you tried,
Mm.
even if you sold your life. So I really made a lot of noise about that. Luckily, in my culture, what actually happens is that you negotiate, they bring a bride price, but then what like the bride's family ends up doing is saying, okay, this is great. And then they return the money to you and tell you that our daughter cannot be bought.
What, in Nigeria?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So in my tribe in Nigeria.
Okay.
And because the idea is.
So you just show them the money and then
Yes,
you go
exactly.
back with
Because
it.
for them, the
Prestige.
idea
Wow.
is this will always be home. So if you
Yeah.
misbehave, she has a room here.
Yeah.
Because you never bought her to begin with. So don't even think that you can go and be doing what you're doing there and that she does not have a house. So that part I was happy, that
Kenyans
I didn't
mnasikia.
have to. But
But
because
also,
it's from a
even for here,
Kikuyu family,
most guys don't
they
finish.
still-
They don't
Yeah.
finish the bride.
Exactly.
For
But-
that reason, I think.
But for the Kikuyu, I don't understand you guys. They felt it was by force to bring something.
Yeah.
So even after they were like, no, so they gave other reasons for why they were present. Oh, this one is for Sijui, who and who, just as a thank you.
Yeah.
But they were essentially paying a bride price.
Yeah.
This is what we the value she will
brought
add
this.
to our
Yeah.
family.
Yeah.
And so they were essentially paying a bride price. I remember being so upset about it afterwards because it turns out that my uncle knew they were going to do that, but then didn't tell me because he knew I'd be angry. And I remember like in my emotions on one day telling my mother, return that. Return the money. Collect it from all those uncles that I don't know
Yeah.
who have sat down and returned the money to them.
Yeah.
But of course, the moment had come and gone, and my husband was like, that would be considered an insult to them.
It would be,
Yeah. And so I was like, okay, fine. But it's very tricky, very weird.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I
Yeah.
think it should be eliminated as a thing entirely. Yeah. So
I think over the years it will become.
but I feel like we've been saying that for the
non-existent.
longest
yeah.
time.
Still
and
happening.
we're still doing
Maybe
it.
when we
It will change
become
with us.
parents.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I would
maybe.
never demand a bride price for my daughter. Are you
Same,
kidding me?
Yeah. I guess maybe just like have conversations now with your parents and just find out, okay, what are the procedures? What does this mean? Ask
Exactly.
questions.
Ask
Because
questions.
I've been recently asking my mom questions, and every time she tells me something, I'm like, sorry?
What do you mean?
What do you mean?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Yeah.
For
I didn't
who?
even
How?
know like the dowry is going, like it's given across like
Yeah.
the uncles and
Yeah.
aunties.
Yeah.
I didn't know. So I'm just like, kumbe, I'm being pressured because people are expecting to get a cut.
Each of them will
I
get a
thought
cut.
they
It
were
doesn't
just
even
there
go
for
to
my
your folks.
happiness.
Yes.
They just want me
No.
to find
And imagine
someone
some of them can show up. You have never seen this uncle in your life,
Before.
but my guy has shown up to say,
get a
yes,
cut."
our daughter.
Yeah,
collect
me, I
money.
thought people are pressuring me because they want good for me. Kumbe, they just want a cut.
Just
Yeah.
some small dollar bills.
Well, okay, that was a lot. Do you have
Yeah.
any closing remarks on things they don't tell you about weddings that you really want us to know? You can speak to that camera or that camera, and then we can wrap up.
Okay. I think I can go fast.
Yeah.
So I'll just wrap up with one last one, which is ideally a lot of people will feel entitled, especially when it comes to your guest list. That was a huge lesson for me. And also I didn't know. Yeah. Like even fans on Instagram feel they feel like
They should come to your wedding.
yeah.
No,
Yeah. In
wow.
fact, like there's someone who sent me a long message saying that they feel like hurt.
That they are not invited.
Yeah. So
Oh my god, I'm sorry. That's just hilarious to me.
Yeah, it was and I know this person maybe from childhood, but we don't even talk.
Yeah.
And they're like,
Even your
"Wow,
saloonist will want to be invited.
umenipiga character
Mama,
development."
Yeah, like Mama Wako and Boga will
Yeah.
want to be invited.
So be
Yeah,
strict with it.
everyone.
And like for me, one thing I did, I had QR codes. Yeah. And if you come to the gate and you don't have the invite, you go back home.
Yeah.
And it's as simple as that. And I made that clear to our parents. And if you're not invited, utaibishwa tu kwa gate. So have control over your wedding. Do what you can, what your pocket allows you, what you both want. And yeah, you'll have the best day ever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dhvani?
I think my last piece of advice would be set ground rules with your partner from the beginning,
Yeah.
and make sure there's a very strong foundation there, because it can test your relationship. And I think people did not tell me how much it can test your relationship, because when family gets involved and money gets involved, like, everything just sort of heightens, and also family members start acting in ways they have never acted before.
Yeah.
So it can trigger a lot of things, and that can bring a lot of tension into your relationship that never existed. So just always remember to come back to each other. Always remember that at the end of the day, this is actually supposed to be a very exciting thing happening for you.
Yeah.
It's not to distance you. So just remember to center in each other always, even if it means doing that every day, which is what my husband and I had to do, and communicate.
Yeah.
Like, say what you're feeling. Because if you don't, it becomes a fight. The other person doesn't understand, and then the whole thing escalates. So just remember, set a strong foundation with your partner. Remind yourself why you're doing what you're doing. And then have fun with the rest of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, for me, again, I'm not a bride, never been a bride. I'm a bride, aspiring bride.
Yeah.
Aspiring
bride. As a bridesmaid.
Sounds like I'm not the bride.
I'm
the
not the bride.
aspiring bride.
Aspiring bride. For me, I think I would just say, as a bridesmaid, just really show up for your friend, especially if this is someone that you're close to.
Yeah.
Really, really show up for them, because they really do need you. Me, my skin broke out. I was stressed. I had eye bags. I was barely sleeping. Like, I actually broke down on one day. You don't even know. I did. Yeah, the day for the Itara. Like, I was like at my wit's end with everything, because everyone was calling me to ask me where you are.
Yes.
Like the groom's brother is calling me.
Was
Everyone is calling me. Where's the bride? What's the ETA? Where's the bridesmaids? Where's this? Where's that? I'm like, I don't know everything.
Oh,
I don't know. And at that point, I'm trying to do my makeup. I'm trying to do my hair. I'm trying to wear my dress. Like, I actually like sat down in the toilet and I cried. Then I was like, okay, I'm good. Let's go now.
Let me go show up.
And that day I had to call my boyfriend and I was like, you need to come today, because I need someone who's actually worried about me. I'm worried for everyone else.
Yes.
I need someone to come worry about me. And so just like, it's a very short amount of time that you get to show up for your friend.
Yeah.
So just really show up for them and just support them in the best way that you can, because these are things that, will last a lifetime. So yeah,
There's a lot of crying.
and there's a lot of crying.
Yeah.
It's okay.
There are multiple breakdowns. Multiple
breakdowns. Yeah. So that's it for today's episode. Thank you so much for watching. If you're listening to us on our audio platforms, thank you for listening. I will hear you. No, you will see me, or you will hear me in our next episode. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.